Have you ever wondered what it's like to work in the fashion industry? To make it as an artist, the hustle behind launching your own label, pursuing a career in music or any other creative industry? Halfstack has been pursuing these stories in print form for the last 4 years. This fall, we're bringing the inside story to YouTube. We connected with some of Chicago's most iconic creatives to hear their stories and share their journeys with you. We take you behind the scenes and offer candid, personal conversations with people pursuing their dreams. It's not as glamorous as the media would like you to think. We are sharing the raw reality behind making it. When you think of graffiti, what comes to mind? Stereotypes? Urban scrawling? What about the idea of high-end artwork? Rome 1 has been an urban artist for over 25 years. His work crosses genres and evokes emotion. Known for his large-scale murals, graffiti work, paintings, and urban edge, Angel Pagan, aka Rome 1, has truly made a name for himself in the Chicago arts community. His work showcases new concepts by combining the principles of balance and unity with pattern and space to create striking work. Yet, what is truly inspiring about Rome is his giving nature and humble spirit. His hustle speaks for itself, and yet he continues to touch the lives of others through his wise words and openness to share his craft. Rome led us into his intimate space to talk about art, his career, the evolving industry he finds himself in, and what motivates him through the good times and the bad. Let us know if you're enjoying this series by clicking that like button and commenting below. If you want to keep up with the latest episodes, please make sure to subscribe. If you have a suggestion for a video feature for making it, shoot us an email or leave a suggestion in the comments below.
My name is Angel Pagan. I go by the name of Rome. As a child, we move around a lot, so I guess the origins or birth of like artistic expression started in Rochester, New York. I had some grammar school and some high school there, and it was my first like, oh, what's this graffiti thing we have here? Yeah. I just started evolving from that. I moved to Chicago in the early 80s, where the scene of graffiti was very prominent. My approach from the very start was I didn't want to be boxed in a particular format as I just write my name type of stuff. Not there's anything wrong with that. It's just I envisioned more in my talent that I wanted to express. So I kept pushing, like I want to do bigger and bigger things besides, just writing on walls or writing my name. After high school, I went to American Academy of Art, where I kind of honed in on what I really needed to do, the correct way of learning about colors and compositions and just the whole approach on that. And then little by little, I started seeing like, okay, I need to do more. I need to not generate income, but I need to make an impact for myself and pushing myself creatively. So I network as much with anybody and always try doing things outside the box. I looked at photography. I want to do filming, music. It doesn't. Everything is a creative force that we all around. So it's just, right now artistically, I'm doing paintings, and it's a good way of just compacting a lot of my ideas and stuff that I have. 99.9% of the time, there are no sketches or format to my paintings. It's just that I know that every year I want to be better. Every year I want to create something new, something fresh. And currently, the body of work that I have now is called Layers. That series is a direction for me to do more outside of the structure of graffiti that I'm given. In graffiti, the basis is your lettering schemes and a character. Now, if you see a lot of the influence from the graffiti scene overseas, and especially now in the United States, you have a more artistic approach. You have, the sci-fi scenes, and you get away from that early 80s New York b-boy style artwork, which is still my core base. I grew up to that, so I see that as being primary design for graffiti. But now that I am older and my approach is more of a direction to be recognized as an artist of the medium that I'm using now, that I want to get away from the stereotypical I just write on things. And, that is my background, and I've had a solid history of representing it accordingly. But now, as more galleries I network with and people that I see my work, they see that there's an influence in it that I didn't buy in. It's that influence is real. Graffiti writer since the early 80s. There is no, I didn't just jump into it just to get a flash in it. At my age and the time I network with and the people, places I painted, you can't buy that, that type of saying, well, I went to art school and now I'm a so-called graffiti writer. No, that was my background and I'm proud of it. But I know for a fact that now the body of work I've been coming out this couple years, it's gonna push me forward to do more, and I believe I'm just barely making a difference to myself. So my impact right now, I'm more aggressively into trying to create more work and bigger pieces and pushing into something in a whole different avenue. It's an aggressive approach because I know that I'm older and I don't have time to play around. I don't have time to waste. I have to balance a full-time job, a family, and plus time in the studio. There's no games involved. If a gallery approaches me or I approach a gallery, my direct approach is, here's my bio, here's my artist statement, here's my current kind of body of work. Let's make moves, because you're wasting time. And as creatively I put out artwork, I'm as aggressively I am in promoting it, and it's the balance between me being an artist and me being a businessman, especially for my own business. It is complete an evolution. I can't wait to see what I'm doing when I'm 80, and it's weird. I've always said that, and I said that years ago. It's because I think it's just, you learn more, and I think after a while the social influences that you have will start to evolve, and you hone into what you do. And after a while, the stress of work and relationships and income, once that starts to fade away, because the older you get, the more established you become, then the more hone into the ideas that you want to portray. And then you don't have to sell it. You don't have to create a body of work because this is what people are doing. No, this is what I do. This is my work, and this is what I currently have. Take it for what it is. And if you don't want to, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Everybody has a different view of what art is. And one of the things I do is, whoever, all the people that I network with, I am as green as being new to it from day one that I am now. Everyone I sit down with and I network with, we bounce things off of back and forth, and I learn and try to say, okay, well, it isn't that I'm stuck in my own way saying this is the way I do things. No, there's always a way of learning. Like the fashion industry that I see stuff now, and my clothing line. I had a clothing line that I came out with, and I actually took a break on doing it because I want to focus more on my artwork, my canvas work. But I just felt like I'm gonna do it. I'll bring out a whole series of shirts and hats and stuff, and I wanted to stay away from the typical silk screening format that I was seeing. And then I wanted to start doing suits and perfume and stuff, and colognes, and then it just became to a point where if I don't have the capital and the support, I can't really focus it accordingly. I didn't do any research. I asked a couple of questions. I just felt like I'm gonna do it because why not? Really, I mean, if you're gonna be pondering like, well, I don't have this, ask questions. The web is out there. You can't tell me that anybody that has an idea can't push it forward. Mind you, there's roadblocks, and mind you, at the end of the day, if you don't have the money to really pay the people to do it, to do things that you can't do, then yeah, it's a roadblock and you're stuck on it. But I think You should be passionate enough to get it done. If you don't know, ask, and if you don't know, find out, and then hopefully you move forward. And I didn't think my clothing line was a failure. It was a success for me because it made an impact. It made an impact for me, and it made an impact for people around me, and I had a lot of people supporting me on it. And to a point where even when it came to the commercials that I wanted to shoot and the photo shoots, I was there, and I had a direct approach on everything that needed to get done because it's my product, my name at the end of it, and the way I want it's the way it's going to be portrayed. I'm not going to sit here and have someone else tell me what my product is supposed to look like. Same thing as my paintings. You can't tell me the way you want to dictate my work. It's my work. My name is at the end of it, and I'm proud of everything I put together. And the people who I network with, I build with them, and there's always opportunities that open up, and there's always chances, even if it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Rome 1, Rome is actually, the graffiti name is Rome, R-O-M-E. 1 was I threw that in there because a lot of it has to do with if we're all winning some type of battle, we're all losing some type of battle. And I want, every time somebody mentions my name that I won, it's because I did win. I come from a typical family of low income, and the whole inner youth going through things in big cities like any kid goes through, even also as well as suburbs, but the gang infested, drug infested, the crime, the getting caught up in the system, going to public schools, and my mentality is as I approach everyone that I network with. I always say we build leaders. We don't build followers. And the idea what I came, with my name was it meant, Rome won. I win, and that's my mentality. I will not lose. Even if I'm losing, I'm gonna learn something for it, so not to happen again. My evolution was like a typical graffiti writer's evolution, from tags to throw-ups to fill-ins to pieces to murals, and it's been always the format. To a lot of people who don't understand graffiti, or are not on this, don't understand the growth of it. Everything originates from a tag. That's your signature. To a point where you create a body of work that signature is now at the end as the title. So that evolution is a proud moment for me because it's come to a point where I look at work I did in 83, 84, and 85, like, man, I was barely trying to figure out what I was doing, and now to see where I'm at now, and a lot of it has to do with technology and its base, social media. Now, you can create a body of work, have it online, and directly get a result from collectors or people that like your work, or even young individuals who are following and want to make a name for themselves so they can learn from it. So technology has played a big part in what we do, especially evolving from an artist who can just get out of school, art school or design school, and post some things, create a portfolio online, and pretty much create a fan base almost instantly. You didn't have that in the early 80s and the early 90s. That relationship between technology and artwork and getting your name out there was more difficult. You had to be on the grind. You had to pretty much go door to door to galleries and showing them your portfolio that you spend hundreds of dollars to put together and get it printed and carry it around this big suitcase of work, like, this is what I have, please look at my stuff, and now it's like, I'll shoot you an email, here's a link to my website, Google me and you'll find the work I do, and then from there you can make a decision if you want to know me or not. A lot of it has to do with my over-aggressive competitiveness. I treat the field that I'm in as an athlete. And I look at it like I'm not gonna wear logos and labels of clothing lines that one won't support me or support the movement that I'm involved with. That's one thing. So I'm inspired by other people that are doing better than me. I constantly want to be around people that are sharks, that are more aggressive, that are more talented, because that's the only way you're going to get better. You know, one of my friends who plays basketball was saying the only way you get better is by playing basketball with people that are better. So I seek out people that are better. It doesn't matter what race, creed, age, or whatever it is, because you're good at something and you want to learn. Now that I'm not like gonna soak up their knowledge and run. No, but I'm all ears. I'm all ears, and I'm never thinking that I'm too good to learn. I'm inspired by just movement, and you know, one of the things is when I go to the wall to paint, and I don't bring a sketch sometimes. I'll look at a piece of garbage or rock or a strange shape, and I start thinking in my head like, okay, I can use that as a framework for my lettering. It's kind of weird, but it allows me to mentally sketch and prepare me. A lot of the series of work that I do, I'm mentally sketching things months in ahead. Perfect example, I have a body of work that I'm coming out next spring. I have 10 titles already. I haven't painted that one thing because I already know in my head what they're going to look like, the mechanics of it, what colors and what to use. That's never going to change. It's a format to that. But the idea and coming out with what you want and what's supposed to look like, that's the thought process. And so I'm constantly sketching. I might be going somewhere or at work or driving, and I'll pick up on something like, okay, so this painting with this title is going to have this, and this, and this. Now the rest of it is just the mechanics of the colors, making sure it's balanced, and then the stuff that you want to do. It's a totally different new body of artwork that I'm going to do, and that's pretty much it. I thrive on trying to do better, and if I see things like, man, how did he do that? Then I'm going to find out and try to not emulate it, but I'm going to try to be like, I can incorporate that in my design, or now I know I can create something even bigger and better for myself and for my portfolio of what I do. Before I came to Chicago, like I said before, I lived in Rochester, New York. I met an individual who showed me some sketches. This is early 80s, so the sketch of the lettering had the characters with the gazelle glasses and the Kango hats and the b-boy fat laces with the shell toes. And I was, what is that? And he he told me this is graffiti, and a little bit after that we stopped talking, so I kind of just ran with it, and I kind of felt like, okay, so you write on things. So I picked up a can of paint, and I wrote my name, and little by little I just started seeing more of it. It wasn't. There was more the art side of it that I wanted to figure out, like, okay, what else comes with it, And I came to Chicago in the early 80s, and right off the gate, graffiti is a very aggressive artistic approach, I could probably say. You have to be on top of your game, and because those who know and those who are been in it for years they know that no, you haven't done this. Don't say you have when you haven't. We haven't seen it, and it's about work. It's about being exposed. It's about numbers. You have to put in your work. You can't just say, oh, I did all these freight trains, or I did all these walls. Or anybody in Chicago, which no matter how big this city is really a small social network. You can find out anything about graffiti writers in a sense very quickly. Now, especially with social media, people upload something in Instagram, you know where it's at practically. So I had to be real aggressive with it. I know from coming here that it was, you had to make a name for yourself. You have to make an impact. So I figured coming out with better artwork than the next guy, putting in more work than the next guy, is the only way you're gonna really get exposed and get known. Well, the most proudest moment is actually seeing people that don't know you come up to you and say, "I've been following you for years, and can you sign my book," or something like that. That to me is I am super like. To me, I feel blessed. I feel blessed that someone has taken the time to follow my growth and my evolution, and to feel that I made an impact to them, to a point where they want to follow what I'm doing instead of trying to do something negative. I did a project with, this is a couple years ago, with MySpace and T-Mobile, and to be in an environment where corporations respect you, it was very proud. It was a very proud moment. I stood in a room with a few corporate heads, and it was just like, "Mr. Rome, what would you like?" And that respect is pretty much a very proud moment. It brought me. It gave that all the amount of work I've been doing actually paid off. My daughter. Truthfully, it is. It's to strive to try to overcome obstacles. That's really, in a nutshell, that's really what it is. I'm so aggressively looking at this approach that I need to really. That's my drive. I need to do more, but. My daughter, when she tells me, "I want to paint like you, and I want to go to a wall and paint with you, Dad," it drives me to a point where it makes me feel like I'm doing right. It makes me feel that what I'm doing is, no matter how many people or groups of people put you down and say, "Oh, you're doing this, you ain't gonna ever be successful," no matter all the negative things people can throw at me, to hear my daughter say, "I want to be like you," that for once more is serious responsibility, because now I can't just do shenanigans anymore. I can't just do what I want to do. I have to be really more focused, and I have to be more serious, and I have to make sure that I project a positive image on other artists, as well as other men that are raising a family and balancing off family and business and activities. Art to me is not a hobby, it's a business. I can't waste time in thinking, "Oh, I just do this for fun." It's fun. It is. I find pleasure in creating my body of work. But I think I find more fun either trying to market it, or find more fun in creating the ideas that are going to come out, because the mechanics of creating it's just a process. Well, what paint to use and what colors to use, that's just mechanics. That's just learning how to organize yourself accordingly and using the right tools. But the creative part is to thrive. What am I going to do next year? On the subject of art funding in schools, I think losing art and music in schools, it's going to affect these kids. You got to remember, sports, I don't watch any sports, sorry. But sports got funding across the board. All these companies. But when it comes to art, you don't have any funding. You know, there isn't a conglomerate of like galleries that will put funds into these kids' hands. They need an outlet. They need something to say, I built this, and they go home and show. You know, my daughter comes home and from drawing something from school, and she says, look what I did. And I, you know, you want to spark that ownership of something they did, because they put their heart and soul in it, you know. And I wish schools would focus more on the arts of it, because it sparks a creativity for kids to do things. You know, I took piano for a couple of years. You know, I took you know, different languages. I took German and Spanish. You know, we need these things for kids to be creatively thinking. You know, we're spoon-fed information from these history books of things that it's other people's stories. Then you come to find out when you're older, a lot of the information is wrong, or most of it's really geared a certain way. But you can't take away from kids' talent and art. You know, they create a body of work that leads them to a whole different avenue. You know, kids can create a painting and all of a sudden get into the marketing field, or they start thinking, I want to, you know, run a gallery, or even it's just something to get them away from trouble. You know, a black sketchbook, you know, which I still have majority of my books, it is this what got me away from getting into trouble to an extent. I stayed home and I drew and drew, or I went places and hung out with guys, and we all sat in rooms sketching all day long, coming up with designs and lettering, and it took us away from the problems that are out socially. You know, and I think a lot of these schools and people who make these decisions don't understand that, especially in major cities, or just in cities where there's just nothing but violence, they need an outlet. You know, we didn't have the video game systems that a lot of these kids have now, and that's really kind of like where they're going to now. But if you think, if they're gravitating to that, sitting in front of a TV hours a day, they're not growing mentally, creatively. They're not growing. You know, they're gaining weight and watching TV, regardless if it's a video game or something socially shown on a channel. You know, art gives you that spark, gives you that, man, I want to do better. And then just networking with other people and sitting in other rooms saying, look what I did, you know, and it sparks that motivation for them to do more. You know, losing funding for that hurts. It hurts these kids. They need something. And then you have, you know, social scenes like graffiti being the ones they gravitate to, because there's no one else they can in schools. You know, and they come and they go to these events, and you know, whenever there's an art project, a mural being done, who shows up? A lot of these kids wanting an outlet, wanting to know, wanting to meet these artists and how they can become as well. My best advice for anyone who wants to get into any field, might it be music or might it be art, it's a business. If you want it to last long, you have to thrive, you have to be aggressive, you have to be passionate. There is no script. You know, like the questions that for this project, I read them and I didn't script them. I spoke from the heart. I'm gonna answer these questions the same way I would answer them with the cameras turned off. I'm passionate about my work, and I want other people to be passionate as well. You want to get into something, be passionate about it. No one's gonna take that away from you. No one is gonna say what you're doing is half-assed. If you're passionate about something, the years will go by. It don't matter. The growth, you'll see the impact and evolution in whatever you do if you're just passionate enough to be focused. And then you'll start to weed out the people who don't want to be, that are not focused or not goal driven. You know, you have to be motivated and passionate about whatever you do. Might it be, you know, your job or your home or whatever field or hobby that you want to get involved with. But you'll start seeing that other people that are passionate as well as you are want to help and build you like you want to build them. So I would probably say anyone who gets into this or in any field, especially art, and graffiti's you have to be aggressive because that's the only way you'll get noticed. But when it comes to the gallery scene or trying to sell artwork, it's a business. It's a format where you have to promote it and market it constantly. It's the only way that you're gonna get your name out there because no one's gonna do it for you. I have a painting that I won't show. It's one of my first paintings. I did it with ink, and it's dear to me. Not because it's a great painting or anything like that. My work is an extension of me. My work is taking time away from my family. So for me to display my work or have someone in my studio, yeah, it's exposing my personal side. I'm real passionate about my work and I'm real personal about my work. And to hang my work out there and then get, have people tell me, oh, they don't like this, or this doesn't look right, or this isn't proportion, or why did he do this? The first couple of years of you trying to display your work, you're gonna get that. And then after a while, when you build such passion and confidence in your work, it don't matter what you do. If you're so passionate about your stuff, you're always gonna get people saying something negative about it. You can't please everyone, But the first couple steps of saying, and I remember asking an artist one time, I go, how do you take out a piece of you and display it and sell it, and then it's gone? And he told me you just have to do it. And after I did it once or twice, a couple times, little by little, the confidence started to build. When you start saying, man, I love your work, or you start seeing the likes go up, or the shares, or you start seeing people who buy your work. Someone buys my work, I am so honored because they're taking money away from what they want to on their end. They buy one of my paintings or a print or a photo book. They're taking money they could put somewhere else, and I recognize that and I respect that. I respect that fully because you know what? If other people have families they're trying to raise and kids they're trying to raise, or just bills in general, they're gonna buy one of my paintings. That means they're confident in me and they see that what I do is real. It's 100%. There isn't no, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm passionate. I take time away from my family to produce this type of artwork. And I'm constantly evolving. And when someone says, man, I'm going to take money out of my pocket for you, I acknowledge that as being the highest respect that I can give somebody, because that lets me know that they care about my work. They care that they have something in their household, in their personal surroundings to represent another person who's passionate about their work. And I hope it motivates them, or I hope someone else sees this video and motivates them to say, you know what, I'm gonna do something and I'm gonna make it and make it shine. And that's how I look at it. We all come from a rough stage, and now we're trying to do the best we can. And I think just with time and being involved and being and focus on what you want to do, and the end justifies the means. You'll see your artwork completely grow. I have a website which is Rome1.com, ROMEWON.com, as well as my Instagram, which is Rome1, spelled the same way. Facebook, you can look me up under Angel Rome Pagan, Pagan. I have a YouTube, Rome, the number 1 Chicago. But I think if you just Google me, just Google Rome1, a lot of things will pop up. My Flickr, which I haven't really put much in it. Most of my direct feeds come interaction-wise to the public is my Instagram. It's a lot faster. It's on my phone. I upload it. I post it up there. A lot of times I post at odd times, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning during the week is when I'm in the gallery. So I don't really have like when you post your newest work. I always post. Sometimes when I'm working on something new, I'll say, well, this is what I'm working on. A lot of galleries that I deal with, you'll start seeing some of my work. Gallery F in Logan Square in Chicago. We're doing a lot of new projects together and stuff. Chicago Trueborn on Chicago Avenue. God, they've been such a heavy supporter of my work. You'll start seeing more and more coming from that. Vertical Gallery, we just talked about some new projects. I have some new products constantly coming out. You can go to society6.com and you can just get prints and t-shirts that I don't normally will produce and have locally. You can go to that site. modifywatches.com. I have a series of watches of all the reflection of my paintings, so you'll see that in there. So I mean, there's plenty of outlets for people to get in contact with me. Again, the website rome1.com will have generally most of my updated finished work, but my Instagram kind of really is what I have most, my direct feed.